Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlotte, you can call me Charlie, and today we are going to be filling out our spread for 2022, and I am so excited because we are starting a brand new journal. Now this journal that I just showed off a little second ago is found at my local dollar store, and I know exactly how it's made. It is a glue binding with two cover pages that are pasted at the first end page and the last page of the last end page, and that's exactly how this journal was made. And I love it because I bought it, tried some swatches, and was thoroughly impressed with the amount of supplies you can use. Unlike the printing paper which I used in my last bullet journal, I can use marker in this bullet journal and have it not bleed onto the next page. So I am so excited for that. Plus, it is an A5 size, which is just way bigger, or maybe it's a B6 size. I honestly get the two so confused. Please let me know if you know in the comments below. But it's a way bigger than my original standard size notebook that I was using before. So for that first spread, all I did was say welcome to my bullet journal. I feel like that's just an average spread, and if I so pleased, I could write my contact information there. Then I went in on this spread for a spacing page. So I have seen this spread 1,000 different ways, but for me, I want to try it out because spacing, you're right, spacing does take quite a while. Normally I eyeball things, which makes them a little imperfect, but I've kind of grown to accept that when you're doing things handmade, they can't be perfect. So I'll always call them perfectly imperfect. But anywho, for this bullet journal, I wanted to have this spacing to see if it really made a difference in my workflow. So because I've used this bullet journal before, I know what the spacing is in my journal. So unlike other spacing pages where you see people draw out the spreads in a nutshell, I don't need to do that. So all I do is I label what type of spread it is in blue, and then I add my spacing instructions like 3 down, 4 across, 2 from the top type of thing. And my theme, because we have not talked about my theme yet, is this blue color theme. I chose my color before I picked my actual theme, and so because I chose blue, I figured blue reminds me of bubbles, so hence I drew circles. And I love how this is so abstract because I feel like the first 2022, or the main spread of your bullet journal shouldn't necessarily be a object theme, because I don't know, unless there's just something about a cohesive bullet journal when you have like the bullet journal theme itself, but then you also have the monthly themes. So that's what I tried to imply with this blue coloring. However, you will see me go back over some of these circles because they actually reminded me of a virus. So I ended up making them clouds, abstract clouds, okay? I love them, they're cute, they're abstract clouds. So yeah, in a way it is a theme, but hey, at least it's not a virus, am I right? And for this 2022 spread, I actually had no idea what I was going to do. So what I ended up doing is I drew the 2022 first, thought a long time. You didn't see me thinking, but I thought a long time about what I was going to do, ended up drawing some block letters, and then went over with my circles. Up until this point in the bullet journal, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I actually cut a lot of my drawing because as much as I loved, bullet journaling, these little dots, these circles, were so tedious and long, and I am a slow bullet journaler. If anything, I realized while doing this spread is that I actually draw really slow, and believe it or not, this footage that you're watching right now, right here, is actually sped up. So, yeah, it's weird. And because this 2022 number set is not in the middle of the page, because I didn't plan it so that it was in the middle of the page because it wasn't originally going to be block letters. What I ended up going in and doing is adding this nice hello script to kind of center it out. And while I think the hello helped a lot with the way the page looks in full, I think that I should probably have planned this out. You'll also notice lighting change a little bit during this bullet journal spread video because I actually filmed this over 2 days and I do use natural lighting. And the reason why I filled this out over 2 days is because I got my booster shot. So there we go. Shot as in vaccine shot. So yeah, that's exciting. Now that we are done that spread, we are moving on to our calendar spread, and right here I'm showing you this little calendar thing that I was given in another calendar, and I was so tempted just to glue it in because I think the flowers are really pretty on the front, except for it doesn't go with my theme. Look at that bright yellow. I think the yellow was so ugly, especially in my blue theme. So in the end, what I ended up deciding to do is I ended up trying to just, organize my page. And right here you can see me going back to the spacing as I am drawing my lines so that I know what my future log should look like. And while I only have one future log in this bullet journal, so it doesn't really matter, because I'm so happy with this book, this notepad, I did buy a ton. So this might end up being my next year's bullet journal. So for that reason, I ended up deciding to stamp my future log because I got these nifty stamps, and these have to be the most expensive stamps that I have ever bought in my collection. They were $4, but I bought them from the US, so shipping and duties was about $12. Yeah, I love that when that happens. Anyways, so I drew out my guidelines for one page, and then after stamping one future log calendar, I decided I'd just write out my guidelines for the other page so that it was just easier. And what I tried to do is I tried to stamp all the same calendars for different months all at once. However, I still ended up messing up somehow because trying to fit stamps together was so hard, and then it was just kind of confusing. I had a piece of paper that I was practice stamping on because I thought it would be easier, but as you can see, I do still mess up and have to go in again on my calendar and rewrite some of the numbers. And yeah, if y'all were wondering what type of stamp this is, basically it's a silicone stamp, so all you have to do is add the top days of the week, and then you add the actual calendar below it. And so you can mix and match, and you have to make sure you line everything up correctly and you don't put things on a diagonal. So yeah, the one big fault I would give this stamp set is that the days of the week when the first of the month begins on Sunday is actually a different stamp from the rest of the calendar spreads. So if you look at May, you can see there's a block around the stamp, and I am not happy with that. But it is what it is, and I think overall the future log is very helpful because I am a planner ahead of the monther. So just having this future log here makes it so easy for me to just go in, type in my dates, the birthdays, etc., etc. So super helpful. And I'm just drawing my dots, trying to make my little clouds, my abstract clouds, centered around my lettering. And for my lettering, for the most part, I used a very simplistic spread, nothing too major because, I don't know, just nothing too busy. I am trying to go with this minimalism theme this year, so yeah. And I do end up going over my script in a broader, darker fine liner just so that it pops a little more from the background. And I don't know if y'all no, probably not, but I'm going to say it anyways. But I don't use necessarily permanent markers on every spread of my bullet journal. And I know that permanent markers are a lot more expensive, and you don't need to use permanent markers while they are archival and are good long term. There are some spreads in my bullet journal where I simply just don't feel the need to do permanent things like the clouds. My clouds in this bullet journal are all done with a Pilot fine liner that is totally waterproof and not very archival, but is the length that I want. However, for my titles and for any like calendar outlining or anything of that sort, I will use permanent liners so that they stick. At least in my bullet journal, I found that is a great solution to conserving permanent micron pens or other fine liners of that sort. Now, as you can see, I am going in to touch up my lettering on multiple pages. I was really unhappy with my spacing lettering, so to make it more cohesive, I just went in and colored it with a bright, dark, bold fine liner. And I added my little clouds and decided that I would put some swirls in. It would make the clouds a little less abstract-y, but I thought the detail was adorable and added some cloud realism. As realistic as you can get for a cartoon cloud, that is. And, you know, you don't need to go in and fill out your bullet journal one by one, page by page. I know that it's easier to, but I go back all the time to add things, and I think that's a brilliant thing about bullet journaling, is that in 3 months from now, if I decide that my future log isn't working for me, I can go back and switch some things up. Granted, not a lot, because it takes up 2 pages of the book, but a little bit. And also, I didn't really note this, but I had to copy and paste 2 of my stamps because I got them confused. So I think the copied and pasted version of the calendar is pretty obvious because I didn't use the same bullet journal paper, and I just used some printing paper, but it was very helpful. And yeah, not perfect, my calendar spreads, right? So yeah, you can just see me going back, editing some of these clouds, making them a little more shapely. And so now for this last spread, I decided I'd try something new, and I heard about this premise a while ago and thought it was so cool. It's called the 1 line a day challenge, where you write 1 line a day for every day of the year, and then by the end of the year you have this really cool summary of your life. And it's kind of similar to that one-word story where you sit around in a circle and everyone says one word of a story, and it makes this really cool, really funny story. So yeah, that's what I wanted to try out here. And then I gave it a solid light blue border, and I actually thought that the light blue was a little plain, so I do go over with a darker version just to add some pizzazz. And then I go over again with some clouds. Now after this, I do have a flip through because it is the end of my bullet journal, but I actually wanted to take the time to also talk about my challenge for 2022, because I did a challenge in 2021 and it was lots of fun. It was both limiting and entertaining and inspiring, because the challenge was I only had to draw an animal. Every theme was an animal, so I could draw nothing but animals. And while it got me introduced to the anatomy of many animals, I miss my florals. So for this challenge, what I ended up doing is I ended up writing a bunch of names down that inspired me. So that could be like themes like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Jurassic Park, Doctor Who, lots of big fan bases, Star Wars. Then I wrote down some years such as the 80s, the Renaissance, the Middle Age. Then I wrote down some abstract things and some colors like purple, cute, things like that. And then every year I hope to, every month I hope to do a draw of these papers from a glass jar, and each individual board is cut slightly different because I didn't measure. So I do this really interesting thing where I put all my papers inside upside down so that I can't see them when I flip the jar over, and then I just spread my hand whenever I feel like it to drop one of the papers out of the jar. And that is basically how I'm using this challenge, and I can't wait to see what comes of it. So thank you so much for watching this bullet journal video. Please subscribe if you haven't already to my channel, and give this video a big thumbs up for more content. Have a nice day. Bye!